everyone. Welcome to this week's Halton Hills Housing Update. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all have a great day. The numbers this week are kind of interesting, so let's take a look. In Georgetown, we had 11 sales, so we are definitely seeing some pretty consistent sales numbers. The market is definitely not dead. 11 sales, it's a good week. We've been seeing that pretty consistently for the last few weeks. So the sales are definitely happening. We only had 8 new listings in Georgetown, so that is not great news for inventory levels. I'm still really surprised by these low listing numbers. So the market is not going to change in a negative way until we start to see sort of those numbers start to shift. In Acton this week, we had 2 sales and 3 new listings. So again, in the fall, Acton was sort of like dead because Georgetown had such high inventory levels. Acton felt very dead. In the last month, we have seen 2 to 3 sales every single week in Acton. We're seeing new listings coming up, so there's definitely movement in Acton. This week in Glen Williams and Limehouse, there were no sales and no new listings. The rural market had no sales, but 2 new listings. So the rural market continues to be very slow in terms of sales, but we are continuing to see inventory hit the market in there. Something to note, of the 13 properties that sold in all of Halton Hills this week, 9 of them were under $1 million. So that lower price point is still what is moving this market. The remaining 4 were between $1.1 and $1.3 million. So that upper price point, which I continue to talk about being completely dead, continues to be dead. We're seeing some movement in that lower million, 1.25 range. We're seeing a lot of movement in there, but we are certainly not seeing much movement over $1.4 million. So now looking at active inventory, in all of Halton Hills, our inventory climbed very slightly from 109 active listings to 110. So we didn't see a massive jump by any means. Things are staying very stable. Georgetown, however, did drop. We went from 67 down to 65 active listings. So things are definitely not climbing in Georgetown. We still have buyer demand and the listings are not keeping up with it at the moment. Therefore, our inventory is dropping. And under the $1 million price point is, like I just talked about, where we're seeing the most movement. So under 800,000 went from 6 active listings down to 4. So there's almost nothing available under 800,000. 800 to $1 million went from 21 down to 19 active listings. So you're seeing this pocket, we're seeing inventory drop, we're seeing lots of movement in it. Now looking at the over $1 million, 1 to 1.5 million went up slightly from 21 to 22 active listings. So not a big jump, but we're really not seeing the stuff coming down there. And 1.5 million plus climbed this week again, 19 active listings last week, up to 20. Nothing is selling in that price point. It is very dead. So no surprise to see things climbing in that price point. We just really don't have a lot of buyers with those, I'll say, bigger ticket budgets anymore. So like I talked about in the sales, under 125, we're still seeing a lot of movement. We're seeing the odd thing between 125 and 14 moving, but it is very rare in our week to weeks that we are seeing that north of 1.5 selling right now. I digress. In Acton this week, we are up from 14 active listings to 15, but still not like a crazy number compared to where we were at the start of the year. So that's good news for Acton sellers. And things are continuing to move a little bit there. In Glen Williams this week, we remain the same at 5 active listings. Something to note, 3 of those 5 are under $1 million. So that's a rare thing to come up in the Glen. They are all on the smaller bungalow side, but it's pretty surprising to me that 3 things under $1 million in Glen Williams and they're not moving. The other, and then you go to like a $2 million property and then a $3.5 million property. So there's like a big gap there, but nothing is moving under that million in the Glen, and it really surprises me. Limehouse remains the same at 1 active listing, and the rural market is up from 22 to 24 active listings. This is definitely a pocket where inventory is starting to pile on. We are not seeing a ton of sales in the rural market, and that purely, I think, has to do with price point. Like we've been talking about this whole market update, the stuff over, like, let's say 125 is really not moving, and only 2 properties in the rural market are under that price point. Everything else is like 1.3 and over. So that's why we're not seeing a ton of sales in the rural market, because those buyers aren't here. And so it's a struggle for anyone that is selling in that price point right now. There's just no sales happening. In town, out of town, whatever. So the numbers are really interesting. We are just not seeing inventory coming on the market, especially in Georgetown, that I thought we were going to see. And the fact that our sales are still hitting like double-digit numbers every single week is really keeping that at bay. I still think we're gonna look back on this year, January, February will be our best months of the year for a seller. I believe that. Everything is sort of pointing in the direction that we should see inventory climbing. We should see buyer demand sort of ease off once this initial rush of buyers gets satisfied. I do also think that the people that are waiting till the spring are going to hear that the market's actually doing really well right now. We're seeing multiple offers on certain products. We're seeing, offer nights back on certain products. And so I think some of the people that thought maybe they'd hold off till the spring might push their listings up to the next 4 to 6 weeks, and that might start climbing that inventory. But I don't know for sure. So it's pretty safe to say, like, looking at all the numbers that we've seen over the first 6 weeks of the year, I really think our under million buyers, the ones that can put less money down, are the most active price point. We're seeing a lot of movement. The far majority of the movement is $1 million and under. And so I think that's going to remain the case. And what we're going to start seeing is, I think those ones that are just over $1 million are going to have to start coming under that million. And it's just going to have to shift a bit, because over $1 million certainly is not as busy as under $1 million. But I'll be watching it closely. And I do think if you're a seller who is thinking about selling now, especially in Georgetown, now is a really interesting time to put your home on the market. It is still remaining very stable right now. Prices, I think, are coming down a little bit, but because of the demand, it's not feeling crazy. So if you do have a house to sell and you're gonna do it this year, I recommend you try to get it on by the middle of March to try and capitalize on where we are at inventory levels. Because if it follows the trend last year, by the middle of April, our inventory was really like piling on week to week. By May, it was just insane. And that really shifted our market. So you kind of want to beat that, because I do think that that is going to happen again this year. So I will be back next week. Have a great Valentine's Day, everyone.